it's a topic that needs to be discussed a lot more because people are really being affected by gambling, especially in Canada and the United States. But some of these individuals are not from Canada or the United States, but regardless, we're going to have them showcase in this video and just talk about gambling addiction as well. It is brutal. It can ruin families. It can destroy lives. Let's take a look at the first one.
Last night, after I gambled away my rent money for the month, I decided to call the Gamblers Anonymous hotline because I was at rock bottom. And you won't believe what these people said to me. And believe it or not, it wasn't when I was up at 3 in the morning betting on Vietnamese 10 ends for soccer that I realized that I had a problem. It wasn't until this Kansas versus UNLV game that happened last night. At halftime, my bets were at 90 to 95% of the way to hitting. And then after halftime, it was the worst football game I'd ever played. I was at rock bottom. I found the number on the app, and I called the number. So I'm on the phone, and immediately after dialing the number, I hear an automated voice go, "Hello, Gamblers Anonymous hotline. Wait right there. Do not place another bet. We will have a live agent with you shortly."
Alpha
and
team,
we're getting the live
this is
on
Chief
waiting
of
for the
Security
live agent.
Badger.
My fingers were
Our
beating to
U.S.
place
cipher
another bet, but I decided to wait it out. It's
I've
crazy
been
because I
working for the
actually
man
thought
since
that was on the way.
yesterday and organizing containment control.
We're waiting for about
Now that
85
you're here,
minutes.
let's knock
Finally,
down that AO. R6yd.k3K3 K'37juMJE589m.
At that point, I snapped. I immediately lost. I said, "Listen here, this is the visual one we're talking about here." And then this is the worst part about the whole conversation. The man had the audacity to tell me, "Hold on." The whole face goes, "Put that back." Then the other started back. I said, "What?" He said, "Sorry, man, I wasn't talking to you. Somebody tried to grab something they shouldn't touch out of the store." I said,
Okay,
"If you get an honest thing, I'd do that on the side. Really, I'm working the night shift right now." I said, "Look,
Jackpot. Right now.
Get somebody up on the phone. That's scary. But it source that a lot of these side jobs here, it's just really, they need someone to talk to. Some people, you know, need more than that. They need to actually talk, not just someone working at 7-Eleven. So that's especially 100%. We also have two deaths right here. A husband went out $150,000 in debt. They hired $150,000 in debt.
I'm 60. My husband's 59. He's retired. He's starting to gambling and all this. Since then, you've gotten help from gambling. You stop. I mean, it's like everything.
I was sure you'd have me over a barrel. Again.
Altogether.
$4,000 a month.
What do you guys want?
About $7,500.
Just give me something to shoot straight, and we go.
What are your other expenses?
That was happening. Our property paid for, land.
Where is he working right now?
He's not.
Yeah, his butt needs to go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this is part of his getting well.
Yes, you can.
$140,000 gambling full switch like this.
Well, we actually sold the car already, but that immediately onto a credit card. It's paid off too. There are 7 more to go. So we have assets, 130 in a 401k. Rest of the investments all together, Fidelity and State Farm, what have you, total up to about 350.
But that's your total nest egg?
And then we also own land, and we don't want to sell altogether it's about $1 million.
I would sell that for 3 acres of land. Do you know what the interest rate is on these cars?
Yes, the cash advances alone are like 30%.
30%?
Tomorrow, and says I can make $50,000 over the next 3 years, and 100% of that goes to paying this off. And I was going to be retired from 70
Oh my God.
73, and now I'm not. Or part of your $1 million retirement, your land holding, is going to go to dig yourself out of this shovel. There is no way that your life doesn't look different. Y'all are trying to just nickel and dime this sucker. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. $5,000 in interest alone happening each month. You got to get rid of this. You got to sell these acres. I don't want you decimating this nest egg and unplugging all this growth because there's not much there to begin with to get you to live. Do not sell your
Rapid
investments.
response team
So I
Alpha.
would sell the land.
Security Chief Blanchard. How copy? Barricaded the command center. I'm a little dinged up. I'll live. See if there's anyone left to save. I can tell. I'll keep eyes on him.
This money is actually travel and something for the rest of your life. You retire. You can't do that anymore. One of them might actually have to go back to work and hustle because you just run. It's worth some people making. It's insane.
Hi guys, my name's Harry.
Be advised, we lost contact with 3 of our scientists.
I'm 25 years old. I've been an addict since I was 18.
Bring them home. We
Started
need
out
power.
when I was 17, going to pubs as Becky said, after starting my apprenticeship. And
Honestly, it's not a bad makeover.
my apprenticeship is more than which then the day I turned 18, I downloaded my first online contractor, and I was like a deposit match on the first one I got. Which is months as well as expensive. I was losing everything I was earning. I've lost over $400,000 in the last 7 years due to my addiction. And I've probably been up with, I don't know, over $100,000.
You know, Ross,
matches.
you walk a really fine line between love and dark, murderous fucking rage.
$10,000 for my super when the super thing came out.
You wouldn't try to run local knockoff for me, would you?
Like the $17,000 loan for use that I had, which I sold and I spent a lot on the horse in one day. I've owed money on that loan for the last 5 years. Constantly going on steady calls, not paying it back, spending all the money on the punt, spending every single cent I've earned on the punt. I've borrowed money, stolen money, not paid money back on the punt. I've been rehab in November. I spent the whole 2021 six holidays in too much. And yeah, mate, it's starting to get me down. So I'd like the ads got taken away off TV.
Come on.
Because I can't watch the football on Friday anymore without getting the urge to gamble. I feel like innocent young men are getting attacked.
Really?
Getting
What's the
roped.
catch?
Try
Sorry,
and get them on to gamble. And I don't think there's enough regulations and help out there for people that may be struggling.
And if you are like this individual where just watching a sporting event, just seeing a sport, a betting ad show up, and you have that urge to gamble, please get help, because this is really affecting families and especially young men, because young men, more than any other demographic, are going to be more exposed to a lot of these sports bets and stuff, which are basically illegal now in a lot of countries. But it doesn't just affect men as well. This is a story from a woman who lost almost $200,000 gambling.
I lost £200,000 to my gambling addiction, and I'm on day 17 of my recovery. Today's a big day. I know most of you were thinking that I'm going to be getting paid on Monday, which I am at 4 o'clock still, but I spoke about having a tax rebate and I wasn't sure when it was coming in. So I've been on my account and it's coming at 4. So if you're with Monzo, you know you can get paid at 4. And you basically drag the money into your account yourself. So, yeah. Now, last night, when I found this out, my immediate reaction was that I was happy, which it always is when I know I'm getting money. I get this instant buzz, and I just can't wait to get it, because obviously I know that I'm going to be gambling it. I know I'm going to be able to sit there for an hour or two, depending on how quickly the funds go. But yeah, I know I can just be in my own little bubble, spend the money, and yeah, that gives me a buzz. But obviously this time I'm really trying hard to recover. It's ruining my life. Slowly but surely it's taken everything that it can, not just the money, but my relationships with family, friends. Can't carry it on anymore. So it's hard, it's difficult, I've put blocks in place. I've told my stepdad that I'm getting the money, so he's aware at 4 o'clock. And yesterday I felt awful, to be honest with you. I was thinking, I really want to go on there, and then I could feel my brain trying to look for other ways, because, as you know, even with the blocks, there are going to be ways. If I really wanted to, I could do it today.
Yeah, see how the mind will start to justify how you could still, you have a problem, but you're still justifying, well, I probably could do it today. And gambling, it's not even just gambling that is a problem. It's also impulsive spending as well. So if you're someone who has just not even just a gambling habit. You're out there, you're spending money on stuff you don't need, and it's racking up a credit card bill, and you're racking up interest. There's all these compounding problems. You definitely need to seek help. It's unbelievable what's happening right now. The young people are being affected so much by all of these gambling ads, whether it's the accessibility to gambling with your smartphone, whether it's sports betting. It's just unbelievable what's going on. Let me know if you've had any issues with gambling problems in the comment section as well, and I will be sure to read them, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.
I want to bring in NBC's Garrett Haake, who's at the White House. Mark McKinnon was an advisor to President George W. Bush and John McCain, as well as creator of The Circus. And Joyce Vance is a former U.S. attorney, professor at the University of Alabama School of Law, and MSNBC legal analyst. So, Joyce, what is exactly in this order, and what is the practical impact?
Well, this is a very brief order from the judge in Rhode Island saying, look, government, it appears to me based on the evidence that's been put in front of me by the collective states attorneys general, who are the plaintiffs in this action, that you haven't been following my order. That order is a very temporary pause. It's called a TRO that tells the government you must discontinue this blanket freeze on spending. It appears to the judge that the government has not done that, and so the judge is now saying, you have an obligation to comply with my order immediately. You haven't done it. You need to do it now.
And Garrett, let me read to you directly from the order, which I just got my hands on as well as Joyce did. It says, persons who make private determinations of the law and refuse to obey an order generally risk criminal contempt, even if the order is ultimately ruled incorrect. Of course, Donald Trump has avoided any real penalties, even when he has been convicted in the past. And what he's doing, I think it's fair to say, is an absolute cornerstone of what he intended to do from day one when he got into office.
Yeah, Chris, I think that's exactly right. President Trump and his team had long expressed throughout the campaign that they were going to test the bounds of executive authority, and they want to do so in this case as well. Both he and Vice President Vance over the weekend made arguments to this effect, that they don't believe that a single district court judge, as this is in the district court in Rhode Island, I believe, specifically, should have this kind of authority or does have this kind of authority to make these kind of blanket statements about federal policy nationally, and they intend to challenge or push back against any specific judge making that order. This goes back to something J.D. Vance has talked about, sort of a throwback to Andrew Jackson, historically saying, I've seen Justice Marshall's order, now let it enforce it. They believe the courts don't have the authority or the ability to hold their feet to the fire in this case, and they are spoiling for a fight. Democrats have looked at this and see a potential constitutional crisis on the horizon. But for now, I'll be very curious to see, and we have no reaction yet, I should be clear, from the Trump White House, given that this news has just broken in the last few minutes, how far they want to take this challenge, either up the ladder with the courts or by simply continuing.
Get the fuck out of here, you stupid bitch.
The question is that, Joyce, in terms of preserving the Constitution and preserve of recognizing that there are branches of government and that's the democracy that we live in. How big is this moment potentially for a judge to say, I have told you what needs to be done. You need to do it.
Now that you're here, let's lock down that AO.
Yeah, it's shocking that a federal judge would have to admonish the government like that. And there are two paths forward here, and one is very dramatic and perhaps potentially dangerous to democracy. The normal, realistic path is to help judges to try to get a higher court to the roots. Although in reality, this is a very short-term order, because on February 21st, the judge will hold what's called a hearing to the preliminary injunction and let both parties put on evidence and decide what to do and move forward. The judge has also told the government that it's free to come back to him if they need a specific exemption from this order in order to pursue legitimate allegations of fraud and waste. This order tells the government it's unconstitutional to have a blanket freeze on spending that Congress has authorized, but if something specific comes back to me, So that's the rule of law approach, the approach that we would expect to see the administration take. The lawless path is the path that we've increasingly seen the former or the current vice president reference. This notion that you just don't have to obey orders from courts that you don't like. That's obviously in violation of the members of Congress, along with members of the executive branch, take to uphold the Constitution. And if that's the path that the Trump administration chooses, then we really would be at a very serious moment for democracy.
And Mark, I want to read another part of the order. Here's what it says. The defendants now plead that they are just trying to root out fraud. But the phrases, in effect now, were a result of the broad categorical order, not a specific finding of possible fraud. And in any case, as we've often seen before, let's go back to the 2020 election was stolen. Donald Trump has long said, well, there's all this fraud and we're going to show you the proof for it, and then there never is any proof. We're still waiting for him to say why the USAID, for example, is a corrupt organization, or why some of the people may have been taking kickbacks. Fraud, the possibility of trying to prove fraud. How important is that? Just that statement to you in that ruling by the judge?
Well, it's fundamental, and this just gets to the bottom line, which is the Republicans have caught the car now, and got the government's in their control, and what happens will be on their watch, and they will be accountable. But it's clear that Trump is doing what he said he would do during the campaign. He's just taking a wrecking ball to the rebels, and he is stretching the limits of executive authority to their absolute limit, including Congress and including the judiciary. And I think what's going to be interesting, and I kind of flip it over to Joyce on this question, is ultimately what happens if Trump just says, screw it, sue me, do whatever you want, I'm in contempt. I think, which is where I think that'll go. The courts can say whatever they want. We're going to continue to do what we want to do. Joyce, what in the end, what's the hammer here in the end?
About the problem, right? There's this famous statement about let the courts enforce it. The Supreme Court does not have an army that enforces its decisions. Instead, we have an American tradition of judicial review with the Supreme Court as the ultimate arbiter of these legal issues, including the power of the presidency. And to that said, unless the Congress suddenly grows a little bit more of a spine than we've seen them willing to engage with most recently, because really the limit we now learn on presidential power is the power of impeachment, a political power which is probably not going to be exercised here. We would be in a real moment of crisis if this president decided he could ignore court orders and do whatever he wanted to do. Even Richard Nixon didn't do that, ultimately turning over the White House tapes when the Supreme Court ordered him to do that.
And even here, the president said, okay, we're going to comply with this order for the next 11 days. The defendants, this is again reading from the document, the defendants must immediately take every step necessary to effectuate the TRO, including clearing any administration, operation, or technical hurdles to implementation. One of the questions raised by folks who were concerned about this in the first place was, it's easy, for example, to lock everybody out of the building and say, don't come into work anymore. It's another thing to get things back up and running, and the latter often takes longer than the former, right? So where does that leave things? Well, by the way, thousands of federal employees.
That's exactly right, and in some cases it may not even be technically peaceful to comply with the judge's order. If you've already put people on administrative leave who, know how to pay out certain grants or to make sure that the lights are on in certain agencies, whether it's USAID or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau today, where workers can still not come into the office. It may not be as simple as saying, okay, close down the hall. You can send that check out now. Those people are not at work, or perhaps already decided they're not coming back. This order may not be enforceable in that way. And I want to make the point that ratings to impeachment. On the right, including from Elon Musk, there has been chatter that impeachment could go the other way, too. It is possible to impeach federal judges. And so could you see a scenario in which this Republican-controlled Congress goes entirely the other direction and says they agree that the judge's orders are unlawful here? They back up Trump in this showdown and decide to try to impeach a federal judge for issuing.
President Trump proving
that he does, in fact, mean business, and we'll see exactly what he's talking about later today. Since you're our special guest, Charles, I want to start with you because Saturday, February 1st, was the implementation of the first round of tariffs. And the market didn't like it when it opened the following Monday. Then it got a little bit more used to it. We're talking about 25% import tariffs on steel and aluminum. And the market's hanging in there today.
Market's hanging in there pretty good. And by the way, it was hanging in there pretty good in 2018 into 2019 when the tariffs were actually reality. Oh, by the way, the worst time we've ever had tariffs since Steve Holland, prices went down. It was the greatest deflationary period in American history. They did not go up. So it's really kind of nuts. Now, I was talking to some college students on Friday from Westminster, to Blue Blazers, their investment committee. I loved it. So that's one of the questions I came to. They say, listen, now, you go up to the dollar store, right? You got whatever. Let's just say you have $5, you're going to buy a beach ball and 2 towels. You're going to the beach. Beach ball is $5, the towels are $2.50 each. If the beach ball goes to $5.50, you're only going to buy a beach ball and 1 towel. I mean, you're not going to, people don't have a...
Last year, I put out a video talking about a massive gold and silver scam. The Oxford Gold Group was supposed to be taking money in exchange for precious metals, but they were just keeping the money for themselves. I then explained even if they were legitimate, they still would have been scamming people because the premiums on these gold and silver items were absolutely outrageous. But as I dug into this more, I found out it's just the tip of the iceberg. Buy your gold and silver online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Since my last video, the Oxford Gold Group has gone bankrupt. They're out of business, and they are being sued. So it's possible that some individuals will get their money back, but I think that's very unlikely. Now, I found this other company called Regal Assets, and it seems like they were doing something very similar to what Oxford Gold Group was doing. As alleged in the complaint, Regal Assets solicited customers to transfer funds primarily from their tax-deferred retirement accounts to purchase precious metals from Regal Assets through self-directed IRAs, rather than using all of the customers' funds to purchase precious metals. The defendants misappropriated more than 21 from more than 120 customers. The defendants made fraudulent misrepresentations and customers misappropriation and maintain their fraudulent scheme. So when they're misappropriating more than $21 million and using forged documents, I'm sure they're probably saying that they're buying this gold and silver for their customers. They're actually not buying anything, and, well, they got caught. One last thing I wanted to share about Regal Assets before we move on to other scams was that I was able to access their website using the Wayback Machine, and look how nice it looks. I mean, there were features on all these different places, the build on sometimes they're just clothing. It looks really nice, a bunch of fluff, and at the end of the day, it just seems to scam. I tried to click through and see how much they were charging for different things, but unfortunately, all that was taken down. So I don't know if they were putting on that as well. Remember, even if the website looks nice, that doesn't mean anything. It still could be a complete scam. The next one is Lear Capital. Now, some of you have...
The British explorer almost certainly died there. Perhaps you can learn from his missteps.
You think? Because I'm plenty good at finding new ways to cock
Well, that game sucked. That was wild. We had our Super Bowl party here at my place, and, well, we didn't talk the whole time because the Chiefs got absolutely shocked. But in the meantime, we got to talk politics and things that are going on around the globe, and it was fascinating. And before the game even started, Trump, on Air Force One, announces blanket tariffs to everybody. Equal opportunity employer, they say. Not going to the top. What I know is that 79% of those imports are coming from Canada.
Wouldn't surprise me if this was the same on that Pandora
story, shall we? Trump to announce 25% steel and aluminum tariffs in latest trade escalation. U.S. President Donald Trump says tariffs on all steel and aluminum products and imports in the U.S. on top of existing metals duties, and another major escalation of his trade policy overhaul.
Trump, speaking to reporters on Air Force One this way, know about this. Said it very simply. If they charge us, we charge them, Trump said, of the reciprocal tariff plan. The largest source of U.S. steel imports are Canada, Brazil, and Mexico, followed by South Korea and Vietnam. According to government American Island Steel Institute data, by a large margin, hydropower-rich Canada is the largest supplier of primary aluminum metal. 75% of total imports in the first 11 months of 2020. Before we jump right on it, please like and subscribe. Love you guys. Hit that like button. Let's get those things popping. Bench, it's great. And it's interesting that it comes right off the field sometimes. Steel. Who's out there buying steel? You know, it's not really expecting to do with it. And what Harry doesn't realize yeah, actually, I bought a steel beam. This housing crisis that we have right now kind of relies on some of that stuff. And the U.S. is going to be using that steel for auto manufacturing.
I'm take everything I have and flip me the bird for my trouble, isn't it?
Any of the railroad systems that they're helping to build, like, we use metal for everything.
It's pretty.
And so today, so the fact that this is coming down right after his comments there, right after Trudeau hops in a plane, leaves the country. Like, it's a wild day in Canada. Look at the Secret Reporters, brother. They tracked Trudeau down in Paris. Look what happened. Trump, it's not a viable country without us. That's why it makes sense for them to be 51st state. As Mark Nixon said in his post, Trump quadrupled down on the 51st state conversation, and then slapped 25% tariffs across the board that primarily attacks us. And then they tracked Trudeau down in Paris as he fled the country, as Mike said. They're asking him, what about the tariffs? What's going on? Is Canada a viable country? No answer. We have no leader, folks. We have no leader. It stinks. It really does, because, like, and part of this, too, is that we can sit here in Nova Scotia and go, that kind of sucks, but it's not really going to impact us too much. I mean, that's not our main export. Out west, they're sitting pretty, because they're going, well, our thing is potash, uranium, oil, and the BC sitting there with fentanyl and with hydropower. That's their main export. So they're not too upset, but Ontario and Quebec, this is really, really bad for them. So in 2023, it was about $6 billion worth of trade that we did with just aluminum and steel. And Quebec and Ontario, they are going to be fit there to be. So you're going to see a new hat put on that forward.
Especially in the midst of an election in Ontario, like, this is going to be big time.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, the thing that people are not really understanding and comprehending is there was no warning on this. He was on the Air Force One on his way to the Super Bowl. And he's like, yeah, we're going to be doing this. We're dropping these tariffs on everybody because it's unfair. We're being treated unfairly by everybody, as he says. And then in an interview just before that, he talked about, yes, I'm serious about making Canada 51st state. They're not viable without us. They can't do anything, which, in the way that we're currently going, he is correct. We are not viable without the current trade agreement we have with the States. That's why we have to get out of the markets. We have to bring in some of the real diversity into our trade. That's what we really need these days. That's the type of DEI we need these days.
Welcome back to CBS News 24/7. So let's go deeper on President Donald Trump's proposed tariffs today. 25% on all steel and aluminum imports into the United States, including from Canada and Mexico. So let's bring in CBS News business contributor Javier David. Javier, nice to have you with us on the stream once again. The president believes these tariffs will help U.S. steel. What's the logic?
Security Chief Blanchard.
Well, the logic is
barricaded the command center. I'm a little dinged up. I'll live. See if there's anyone left to save. Body cam's live. I'll keep eyes on them.
United States, so the best way to avoid that is to make it more expensive and U.S. made goods. Now, the problem with that is these things that we get from overseas sometimes are cheaper and more cost effective to import. And using U.S. steel or products. The president's idea is, hey, make it more expensive.
Quick time for you. Lucky undead bastard.
Really conservative into our country, and therefore they force American producers to do more with American goods.
Okay, so Trump also pledged to announce these so-called reciprocal tariffs this week. We're hearing a lot about reciprocal tariffs. So is it an oversimplification to say that a reciprocal tariff is essentially that if a country taxes us, we just tax them on that the same amount? And then I guess my larger question is, how would we start trading?
Well, not by name, certainly, but basically, the conflict is about
Better I gamble here than some dodgy warehouse poker game.
how much that costs and ultimately price, and that is, I think, consumers pay prices of companies that are going to be paying will pass it along to them.
Okay, so when could consumers start seeing the impacts of this, whether good or bad?
Look, there's a lag. It won't happen. I say within a month or so. Companies, the plans that they're large and that they're big, so they're going to scramble. So at some point, the president might decide to time and roll these tariffs back, but the impact will already be felt in the system because companies will have to adjust and they will have to sort of account for what we spend more and how.
Friends, this week, what's the tea? This week's episode, we're talking about Sony this week, because man oh man, Sony loves to end up in headlines just with all the same stuff. This is a lot of news that recently happened. But 78 Sony users over those the Dish Network, and everyone wondered if it was just a hiccup, but Sony confirmed that the network was just gone, and it was having another outage. Now, an outage isn't a huge deal, but with Sony, it's kind of a huge deal because it has happened a lot. But I will say that this didn't last very long, and kudos to them for being taken care of quite quickly. It was around midday 8, so almost like 24 hours, I think, somewhere in the market. And I don't know if that's stuff. This shouldn't still be an issue. Let's see.
I'll make this look easy. But it's not. It's not at all. I hate it. I just want a beer.
They had an outage for a data breach, and this happened a handful of times over the Now, 11 had 3 separate breaches. One of them, in particular, that left everything down like a month, which is nuts. And I did compensate everyone, but at this point, Sony has been kind of known for just going down all the time. And said that it's this was all them. They didn't need help. They shut down. They unplugged it on accident, I guess. Not making their track record any better. So, somebody was thinking that maintenance concentration. Here are some other distributors and selling highly medium wanting to buy into their knowledge. Seems like more and more of a bad idea.
What's going on, everybody? Tim here, back with another video, and today I have a question for y'all. It's a question that I've been asking myself for a while now, but I wanted to put it in front of y'all, share it with you, like, and kind of get y'all's take on it. Maybe y'all will have an answer, okay? So my question is, what is to consume when everybody's too broke to consume? What happens to consumerism? What happens to capitalism? What happens to the free market that everybody loves to bring about? What happens to all that? Like, spend money. It happens. Like, we live in a debt-based economy. Here in the United States, in the West, debt-based economy. Okay? So basically, in order to continue, we have to we have to continue debt. Basically, we have to consume, and consuming more than the amount of money we make. Because if we just consume at a level, on par with what we make, we wouldn't have too much debt. So we have to consume more than we can afford to consume to keep the economy going. But eventually, that you run into a problem, right? Because eventually there's more debt out there than there is money to go back, right? And then, when wages aren't keeping up with the cost of living, you realize that, and the valuation of dollars and so many different things, you realize people are just getting broke, right? But people aren't. Now, some people, the average person I say, are getting broke. Now, the people at the top of the pyramid who are benefiting from the low wages and the consumers and all this other stuff, the people who make the goods and services and own the corporations and the companies, they're benefiting. But the average person is just getting broker and broken as time goes on. So eventually, you gotta
I want you to know, when all this fuckery is over, I'll miss you most of all, Patrick.
Consume. They're too broke to consume. And you also would imagine you eventually run into a situation where, people are so deep in debt, they don't want to take on any more debt, or it would be smart to forward their more debt, or deep in credit, because they already owe so much. And eventually, if things continue,
that's what you get for splattering your slop all over my good boots.
To that point where there's just no more money to spend. And then it's well, the people will buy goods. Wouldn't that mean that all the companies and the corporations go down up? They go bankrupt?
I like you zap track. Don't throw pack on it. Yeah, I know it's tempting.
So my question is, don't the very greedy companies, corporations, don't they see that? Can't they see this is where we're headed? And if they can, then why just there's always going to be greed. But it just seems like these days, it's that extreme greed that's the problem. It's they are just trying to drain every single dollar, cent, penny, IOU, just put it all over and then put us in as much debt as possible too. They put all the money we have now, and then all the money we're ever going to have. This is not enough. And it's not you take that from customers, and people have no more customers. And state so it's just nothing's they just kept it at 10%, 30%. There was in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Why now it's they just do it for everything. And maybe they're just
what? Where'd your head go?
Because I think, it's my part the way it's going, realizing
available Alpha TV.
I don't know if there's anybody who's best. People will look at the stock and be like, oh, the market's up, the economy's good. The stock market is not the economy. Anyway, I don't think anybody who looks like the real economy, the real state of people's finances, the real state of the world, or the country they're in, is like, oh, it's great. Now, I think it's good for America, so I shouldn't say nobody thinks it's good for America. There might be some countries really right. But as far as like America, I don't think most people look and think I think most people can look at the economy. So you would imagine if the ordinary woman and man on the street, right, and the people who make the decisions, you don't get the people in high positions. See that? And like, what was like, all right, we got to, so that we can keep this train going. You know? The only they stay where they're at. And make the money they make as if we keep sending the money to the top. But if there's no money, we can't send nothing to the top. Like, wouldn't they want to stave that off as long as possible? But it seems like
Ride the bullberries.
So, like, speed up the fast. Speed up, you know, whatever's coming. You know? And that's what I just don't understand. I'm like, hey, in the beginning, I don't understand how, like, you don't have the humanity to want to, like, take care of your fellow countrymen. If you're running a company, you don't have the humanity to, like, hey, I need to see what they're doing. Or, like, you don't want to. Like, you don't want to. Like, how do you care about children with like, I supposed to be on
Extrovert recap. Good
I want everybody, you know, I would try to say, every time you know, I would you know, 100 times more than our regular employees. So let's start. I don't know. To see that a lot of people that's crazy. But also, other people, yourself. Like you just want, you know, you see the train heading toward the cliff, and you just hit that. I'm like, what do they do? When like nobody.
Anybody got mouthwash?
Like when nobody can afford to get sued. You know? And maybe this is just an example of, and I kind of think this is maybe it's an example of balance. Some economic system that's a little out of it. It's kind of like how, you know, you're driving up roads, right? A mile away from
you get off the
like it doesn't seem like if you turn your tire slightly, it doesn't seem like you're veering that much. But if you go long enough, I think maybe that's kind of how it is set up an economic system that's not fair and is like out of whack. Over time, it's just naturally just way out of whack. And that's going to call for you're going to be too ready. So I'm thinking maybe that's a cycle if you don't have an economic system that works for everybody.
Global trade has made the USA incredibly rich, and what is good for America is good for Americans. Globalization has let big businesses pull revenue from global markets. It's given consumers cheap products subsidized by poverty wages, and investors access to foreign capital from around the world. The best part is, all we have to give up in return was stable, productive jobs that previously defined the American middle class. For some reason, some people have decided this wasn't actually a very good deal, and that workers need a way to regain some of the power they once had. It is genuinely a very reasonable idea, but it's clear that people on both sides of the political aisle, which is why it's kind of a shame that we are doing it in the stupidest way possible.
Be announcing tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a number of reasons. Number one is the people that are poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two, the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada. And
That's up one of this thing inside out. Scratch Luke though. Welcome in. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's continue here. Sorry for interrupting.
Upset. They upset because they wish that they looked like me. Like I said, it all has to do with my looks and the fact that I'm beautiful. I don't mind it. That's all you're telling me. You're just telling me I'm beautiful. Thank you for the compliment. I hope you have a nice day, and that's about it. Now I'm going to show you complete mastery of self-control, and that's it. Since it has to be this serious, I don't know what you want. You're not making me feel any type of way, man. I'm great. I'm great. God, bro. The weather's talking to me. I mean, listen, you can talk whatever you want, but that's I'm beautiful. We just went over that. See, that's what they want to do. Reality, and I take hours this work. So I did the moving reality every day without trying. It's not something I set out to do. I do it in my sleep, right? They try to act like they're artists. Yeah, that's called insanity. You understand? That's what it is, man. I have no response. Going, say what you want. I know I'm beautiful, I'm confident as hell, and you're clearly phased by it, and that's it. You're upset that I don't deserve to be talked to any type of way to this stuff. So, like I said, I'm a grown man. These games don't work on me. Let me show you in front of you and everyone what the meaning of strength is. Mental strength, emotional strength. Right? Don't let people like this get you down. People know that they're beautiful. Know who you are. And make a stand and continue to stand up for what's right. See, you can never conquer righteous mind. Like I said, what you're saying doesn't exist. There's no argument. We'll never talk to each other. Like I said, you hide behind the internet, and I don't. I come out and I address all my issues. I'm a man, and I run this country and world. Wouldn't you wish to be me? The things you're saying, they're a stripe. Yeah, my smile is beautiful. They're a stripe. Yeah, I'm what you want to be. I'm a man. What do you mean? There's nothing wrong with a man.
Screenshot time. We're going to go back in time about 5 seconds here. Let's see here.
On the internet, I don't. I come out and I address all my issues.
The herpes on his lip is healing, dog. Look at it. Check it out.
I'm a man and I run this country and world. Wouldn't you wish to be me? Get ready for screenshot. The things you're saying, they're a stripe. Yeah, my smile is beautiful. There
you go, guys. I'm coming in for you guys. I'm coming correct. Check it out, dog. Get that screenshot. Oh my God. Look at that building.
They're stripe. Yeah, what you want to be? I'm a man. What do you mean? There's nothing wrong with a man being a man. That's what you're supposed to be. I don't understand. I'm better than all your celebrities. Justin Bieber's over there struggling. You want to talk about it? Justin Bieber doesn't look anywhere near the way I look. Either and Aaron Carter, they both look rough.
Hey, you're not.
Me, I look beautiful. My smile, that's correct. I proved that just in William, and I look perfect. My smile is perfect. What are you saying? Reality's been established. My word is law. My word is law. I don't understand what you think you're saying. I mean, if you want to say something to me, say something that exists. If not, you're wasting your time. Now, look, they'll leave with a frown as usual. You're the one who has that kind of attitude. I don't have that attitude. I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right? And this is not the place for it. It's not working on my program. So all of them are watching you. All of the corrupt authorities are watching you. They're corrupt. Why would these people not be in prison? Oh, man. What nobody talks to you like not you, not anybody, not anybody. And you're very good. So I don't have to watch my mouth. What's good? Come on, man. Look what you're doing, bro. That's what I got.
Once again, guys, I'm so sorry about his win.
Bro, they tried to set me up in the lot I was cooking. And who you think you're dealing with and talking to? You got me confused. I ain't that guy. Not at all. No, it's not just you can say whatever to me.
Is there a way of creating you some CIA and providing you with the logins? Would that work? Let me know.
I don't need to. I understand what you're trying to do. and it ain't never gonna work. So that's it, man. That's all I really have to say. Like I said, I'm out here with a beautiful, happy life. I keep on winning. I did 100 pull up a set yesterday. I'm the strongest man in the world in front of you. I have the audience. I got the profile campaign. It's not a big deal. You got people that time, you know, quote unquote, whatever, break me down with words on here that don't exist, and you're gonna have to find something real. I'm beautiful.
Yeah, his map is almost flying off.
Yeah, what do you mean? Look at me, how handsome I am. You there?
Screenshot time, guys.
So you're faced about it. That's the only conversation that can be had. I would never sit there and argue with somebody who's not in their right mind. What are you talking about? You've got your response, walk away. Other than that, what's up? Why are you pretending you're challenging a man that nobody challenges on a phone, bro? You don't find that kind of sad? See my point? It's the internet. You don't get to do whatever you want. There's still laws you have to follow. You committed a bunch of cyber crimes, you're going to go to prison. And I'm going to be free laughing at you, smiling and living my beautiful life, getting all the women and all everyone, right? So how do you feel? Like I said, what's up? You can say whatever you want about me. I'll never defend anything that's not real. I'll never defend myself from anyone. Ours. But you don't even have a voice. Get yourself a voice. Right? Stop being that product.
I'm small day, bro.
Like I said, we can do this all day because I'm not in a back and forth with anyone. You're just a huge fan for this product. I'm not going to about my success. Do it. You feel me? Well, I'm following you. I want to do. You don't ever tell me what to do. And you know that, so you hide behind a computer and pretend. What's that?
Got it, right? And one second.
I'm not hiding. I'm not talking behind no phone. Right? What I say to all y'all face.
Screenshot time, guys. Go ahead. 2 seconds here. 1.
Feel me? I
3 shots. It's here. 1. 3.
Right in front of you.
Screenshot time, guys. 15 seconds here. 1, 2, 3.
So what do you mean? We can do that. That's what I'm talking. This is how you start speaking. This is how you win. Stand your ground. Don't back down every time. Is that all you have? Like I said, I don't want that energy on my platform at all. So then you can try to bring that energy up. It's not positive, man. That's why you can't accomplish anything. That's why me, the world is mine, and I do whatever I want to do. Your typing and talking has never affected me. What are you saying? Move on. You're saying it right in front of you. Say whatever you want on here, man. It ain't real, bro. None of y'all talking in front of me.
That's okay.
You know what I mean? That's all it is, bro. They said day one they knew that people would never talk to me like this, so they went out of their way to get on a computer and pretend. I'm not going to play that game. I'm a grown man. I'm 35 years old. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I have to keep my cool and be calm and continue to run this business because the only thing that matters is my business and my money and me doing well and winning. You're upset because I'm the authority. You're upset because you do what I tell you to do. You understand? You can't do anything or say anything about it. You still have to do what I say. I mean, you can't trump reality. You can say and type whatever, but you don't dictate reality. God does. And in this world, I'm beautiful. And my smile is beautiful. So what's up? You're mad at me because I smile and I'm happy. You don't like me enjoying myself, so you try to forget your insecurities because you have an issue whatever with your own smile. And I just didn't ask you how you feel. So please quit volunteering how you feel about yourself. It's not personal. It has nothing to do with me. This is something they have an issue with yourself. Anything else? Like I said, I just don't have time to talk to you, man. I'm a busy guy. I'm not trying to hear it, bro. I talk to people who are positive only.
Roger that.
We won't be
Bird headed
discussing
your way.
anything anymore. I'm going straight very raw method, that's very raw method and ignoring it. And that's it. We'll continue to run the business successfully. You see, I call out their behavior. That's why I told all that stuff, that fake Christina stuff. I don't feel anyway. I just know that it's all fake. And like I said, I noticed it and pointed it out every time. It's just getting monotonous. You just keep being repetitive. That's odd. You're not accomplishing anything, man. Like I said, no, I told them what it was. I said, no, you're trying to find a way to affect my platform. That's why you signed your stuff. You knew that was the devil that made it left that about me stroking the clock. You understand? And all I gotta do is change the link now, and they can't get in it. So I'm gonna leave the link, whoever that is. I mean, I want to click the link, but I mean, it is what it is. Not gonna be a happy place for some people. They're not doing what I'm saying. Yeah, no, that's the same thing. Right, but is it real? Right? Or in reality, do people have nothing to do with media? That's what they do. You're trying to make me look some type of way? There's no...
Joey, can you just go to the bathroom and stream? At the playground bathroom, please? Because go under the overpass and stream.
Nothing wrong with a man being an authority figure. I'm not at your discretion. Your judgment is unwanted and irrelevant. It's not even duly noted. You don't have a voice. So, like I said, do not ever come on here and pretend you are challenging me, right? Especially when you're not a man. You don't challenge a man. These are things you should have known, and your parents should have brought you up the right way and taught you were raised wrong. So, what's up? Don't make me up.
Dog, he eats it like Yoshi from Mario World. Just fucking eats the whole thing in one bite.
Right here, smile. Yeah, I'm smiling, dog. I'm good job. Ready up, look. Oh my God. So I'll tell you one thing. I don't go to other people's chat rooms, right? And sit there and just say things that aren't positive and be upset at them because they're happy and doing well, right? I don't go do a bunch of crazy email stuff and make up this and make up that and be on a bunch of crazy accounts and saying things that don't exist. I don't do that. That's very unnecessary and it means nothing to me. Oh, you said something. It doesn't exist, buddy. Get a grip. Yeah. Oh, I know you had. I know you had now. Right? Triggered